Welcome to the Alcohol Free Life podcast, brought to you by thesoberclub.com. I'm Janey Grace. This is for you if you've quit the booze or you'd like to, or maybe you're just sober curious. I'll bring you tips and motivation without any judgment, and there'll be inspiration from experts, quit-lit authors, and sober heroes. Hi and welcome to the podcast. This is Janey Lee Grace, and I hope you've had a good week. And Champneys weekend was just fantastic. Our self-care and sobriety retreat last weekend. It was just great just to go somewhere. It was nice after so many months of, not being able to do that kind of thing. So that was really great. And just to be able to meet people, like-minded people. And even though, we had all sorts of different interests. I mean, we were a disparate group, some 100 days sober, some several years sober, but all with that same intention, really, of wanting to look at what's next. So we did some great stuff, used lots of great NLP techniques, and I think there was definitely some transformation happened. So it was really, really magical. So I was so grateful to be able to do that. If it's something you're interested in, do check it out. Go to thesoberclub.com and click on events, and you'll see when the next ones are. And also, as I've already mentioned a couple of times, I'm going to be hosting some one-day events and one-to-one coaching sessions by the sea, so that'll be fun. It's only Essex, it's not Cornwall, sadly, but anyways, that's going to be good too. So make sure you register your interest if that's something that you think might resonate with you. It's been another one of those weeks, media-wise, hasn't it? I think it was actually about just before last weekend. There was that news story about people in Britain sinking 120 bottles of wine a year each. That was what the study said. I was asked on Radio 2 and was proud to be able to say, when the question was, how many did you drink? Answer, none at all. Of course, it wouldn't have been the same if you'd asked me a few years ago. And on a serious note, the study found that the way drinking has escalated in lockdown, it's really quite scary. People are drinking so much more and more frequently, so they're drinking kind of every day, and they're drinking a lot more than they used to. I find it interesting too to note that the UK is number 16 in the kind of tally of which country drinks the most. Apparently the Czech Republic is at number 1. I haven't got the full breakdown, but anyways, there you go. It was sobering news, actually. Everyone kind of made fun of it, but it's actually really, really sobering news. It's just nothing to be proud of, really, is it? On the scoring note, I hope you enjoyed Eurovision. Some of the gals at Champneys had to have a Eurovision party after we finished our yoga nidra relaxation. They went straight off to a Eurovision party. It's amazing, isn't it? Isn't it amazing how that is still such a thing? Eurovision, it's really funny. And then the other bit of kind of newsy stuff that's happened this week is we've been talking in the Sober Club Facebook group about the Archers, and I don't know if you've been following the story. I must confess I haven't listened to it, but I did listen a while back, and I think I mentioned it on the podcast when they covered this kind of drinking story with this character Alice, and back then I was saying on the podcast that the bit I heard I found really quite harrowing, actually, and I appreciated that they wanted to portray, alcohol in all its bleak and dim glory, as it were. But at the time, my thinking was that would make a lot of listeners think, oh, thank God I'm not that bad. So I don't have to kind of worry about it. I'm just a grey area drinker. Not that they know the term, of course. But it might make a lot of people, just kind of dismiss it. It's just another storyline that kind of doesn't affect them personally. But interestingly, this time, someone in the Sober Club said that actually this time the character's not portrayed as a sort of typical alcoholic. She's seen to be functioning and an okay life, but she's kind of heading downwards now. So it's almost like we can see that she is a grey area drinker. She is able to stop. She's able to function seemingly. But the booze is catching up with her. Anyway, I'm trying to get to a point here, which is that a couple of people said they on the kind of groups that are associated with the Archers, because of course it's got such a massive fan base, on the groups, so few people seem to have any sympathy with the character. Were very kind of just didn't seem to have any real empathy, and on the actual program the other characters are quite judgmental and quite angry with her, so I thought that was, I don't know, I'm not sure where I'm going with that, but I just thought it was interesting. I mean, it's good that they're covering it, isn't it? It's great that it's out in the open, that they've got that character, and anything that raises awareness of kind of regular people who, might, hopefully, let's hope she finds another way. That would be great. Let's hope she finds just how fantastic Ditching the Booze is, right? That would be a good storyline. Anyways, let me tell you about what's coming up in today's show. We've teamed up with Penrhos Spirits, fascinating artisan brand, you would call them. Everything from their own farm, their fruit from their own farm. So this is a really cool, fruity, alcohol-free spirit, in inverted commas. So I thought it'd be really nice to chat to the founders, the farm. The founders of the business, direct from the farm. So we're going to be talking to Harriet and Dickie from Penrhos Spirits. But before we do that, this is an interview I recorded a while back, and you may be aware that I've worked with this fabulous lady before, Star Khechara, because if you've got a copy of Happy, Healthy, Sober of my new book, Star wrote such a lovely piece for us in the book. She wrote about her what she's created, which is called the Facelift Diet. It's a very cool name, and just about the impact and the power of certain fruits and veg on our well-being, on our complexion, and all of that stuff. And she gives some fabulous recipes in the book for things like purple berry smoothies and chia seed puddings and all sorts of lovely things. So she's written a really great section for Happy, Healthy, Sober. But even before she wrote that for me, of course, she's been sober a couple of years and has her own fascinating story to tell. So without me chatting for any longer, let's hear from Star. I'm so pleased that my guest is Star Khechara, and Star is the author of the Holistic Beauty Book and also creator of the Facelift Diet. I love the sound of that. We're definitely going to talk about that. Welcome, Star.
Hi, Janey. Thank you so much for having me.
It's lovely to chat to you. I mean, I've been aware of your work for so many years. We've kind of crossed paths with various things because we've both done lots around, natural skincare and beauty and all of that stuff. But only recently I found out that you too have ditched the booze, which is just amazing, isn't it? Just amazing. So tell us a little bit about what happened for you. We'll talk more about your holistic beauty work and the work that you're doing now in a while. But tell us what happened for you, because I know that just like me, you were kind of drinking fairly regularly, and it was actually noticing your anxiety that could sort of spark the change. So just back up and tell us a bit of your drinking story, if you like.
Oh, it's a good one. Thank you, Janey. So like most people, I started out in my teenage years, thinking like drinking like regularly was normal, like we all do. And I used to use it quite a lot I didn't realize I suffered from social anxiety. I thought it was normal to always feel like sick when you had to go into any kind of like public setting. I found out years later that's actually called social anxiety, and it's actually a condition. And what I was doing, I was using alcohol as a kind of like self-medication. I was self-medicating with alcohol in order to endure going out into the world of people, whether that was a bar or clubbing or an art exhibition or even a lecture. And the problem is that it turns out I have a kind of alcohol sensitivity. So I can't moderate my alcohol intake. It would be one drink and the bar would be drunk dry. And it just got to a point, I didn't think I was alcoholic. I thought alcoholics were like the movies always show, it's the wino in the street who's homeless and drinking out of a paper bag, or it's someone that drinks like on the daily. And I was none of those things. I was more like, I'm a gin connoisseur. I go to the gin festival, and you know, I drink alcohol in a very classy way, so I didn't think I had a problem. And it was only when I went into therapy for my anxiety issues that my therapist said, like, have you considered that you might be alcoholic? And I kind of like laughed and I was like, no, like, why would I be alcoholic? I'm not like drinking all the time. And she said, no, but you don't have to. And she made me go through the little checklist that the Alcoholics Anonymous have. And from there, I thought I ticked every box out of, I think there's 11, is there, or something?
I don't know. It's not anything I've ever done. But can I just pause you there just for a moment? Because
Yes.
before I forget, I'm really interested that you say that you went to see a therapist or a counselor, whatever it was, for you rocked up with anxiety issues, and then you were even. I'm amazed that you were even asked about your alcohol consumption. Both amazed and pleased, because one of the things that I'm really working on at the moment is trying to sort of look at this relationship between grey area drinkers, we now know the term is, and anxiety. But one of the problems is that the majority of the medical profession don't understand the grey area drinkers. They think there's only those at rock bottom and everybody else is allegedly social drinkers and happy. And many therapists also, if they do recognize it, it's difficult for them to know exactly what to do with it. I suppose what I'm trying to say is because alcohol is so ingrained in our culture, because as you say, it's normal, because everybody does it, then a large percentage of both the medical profession and holistic health practitioners don't quite know what to do with those of us that don't fit that end of the spectrum. So sorry, that was a massive interruption, but I just really wanted to pick up on that. I don't know if you realize how unusual it is that your therapist actually said that.
Yeah.
And how amazing. You're allowed to speak now. Sorry, I went off on one.
No, that's okay. Right.
Carry on.
I like conversations that get no, it's I am lucky. I mean, it turns out that my therapist had been alcoholic too, and she's sober, so she recognized, like you say, to be honest, that's the first time I've heard the term grey area drinking too. So it's obviously not a common thing. And like you say, unless you're actually like a wino on the street with a paper bag or drinking daily, it's not taken seriously. If I'd rocked up at the doctor's and said, hey, I tend to drink a lot of gin at the weekend, I think I've got a problem, they'd just be like, that
sounds normal.
That sounds normal. Yeah, that's like everyone in society. But so I was lucky that she recognized the signs. I think I must have had a couple of sessions where I'd said, I'd had an argument with my boyfriend because I'd been blackout drunk again, and I regret thinking, who do I have to apologize to today? And so she picked up that I might have an issue. So she made me go through the little questionnaire thing, and I ticked every single box. And she said, she says, I can't tell you what to do, but I think you should take a serious look at your alcohol consumption and your attachment to it. Because it's not so much the consumption, because you can be alcoholic at any level of consumption. It's the attachment to it, isn't it? Absolutely. And see where you are and think about giving up. So she gave me like lists of AA and stuff. And I was it took me a few days to sink in of Janey. I was like, I'm an alcoholic. I'm a cool drinker. I drink hipster gin. And, you have all these little things in your head. And like you say, it's not really recognized as alcoholism at this level of drinking. But I think I had like one more night out where I couldn't monitor my drinking and sort of woke up and couldn't remember half of the night. And I think, my therapist was right. I've got a problem. And I really didn't want to go to AA meetings. I don't know why, there's nothing wrong with them, but I just didn't feel it was for me. So I figured that if I don't quit, she's going to make me go to AA. So as a kind of like avoidance of going to AA meetings, that was it. I just woke up that day and I said, I'm going to stop drinking. And I just felt like, I don't know, I just had this, feeling inside, like, this is it. This is the moment where I quit and I'm not going to look back.
Yeah. So how did you do that, or how difficult was it for you? Tell us a bit about the hard bits and what did you put in place to sort of support yourself through the early stages?
Well, luckily at the time, my boyfriend wasn't much of a drinker and he hated socializing. I'm an extrovert. He was an introvert. So for the first couple of months, I kind of hibernated a little bit to get used to the idea that I wasn't going to drink. I was so scared I'd be triggered into drinking. Because I'm, like I said before, like I'm the kind of person, because I have this sensitivity, a chemical sensitivity towards alcohol, I can't moderate my intake. Once one drop of alcohol is in me, that's it. I've drunk the bar dry. So I was terrified I'd have that one drink, and all hell would break loose. So I just kind of avoided bars and stuff for like the first couple of months. I'm a roller skater, so I just threw myself into roller skating and like I played Pokemon Go, so I was getting out the house a lot when I was I was avoiding bars and stuff. And after that first couple of months, I suddenly realized I'd stopped thinking about alcohol altogether. It's like, I used to smoke and now I don't. And if I see someone with a cigarette, I don't think, oh, a nice cigarette. I just don't even notice it.
Yeah.
So I was getting to the point of not really noticing alcohol anymore. And then I felt safe to start going out. But honestly, I think that day that I woke up and said I was going to quit, I felt so strong in that decision. And I'm a real stubborn person, Janey. I'm really super stubborn. I'm really determined. So I think my determination more than anything saw me through. I know
what about the kind of, were there any, cravings? What was going on for you nutritionally? I mean, as somebody who really understands nutrition, did you sort of put some things in place, as it were, to support yourself, or were you like me? You just, when I ditched the booze, I completely forgot everything I've ever known and didn't look after myself at all, and then was really surprised to find that I felt terrible for the first month at least.
I definitely think there was a kind of like a few junk food binges, like to kind of replace, because it was coming from, I was coming from a place of anxiety. Like I had this crutch, this like numbing solution.
Yeah.
I was looking for other, like, what can I replace it with at first? And I did start to kind of, I was, eating, some junky things, some like high fats, sort of like refined carbohydrate foods. I'm vegan anyway, but there's a lot of vegan junk food now.
Yeah.
And I lived in Brighton, where I could easily like pile up with vegan donuts and vegan pizza, and I had Deliveroo on speed dial. And then once everything settled, I kind of got used to my new status of being sober. Then I just went back to my healthy diet, because it's my job, so I need to I do be the shining example. So it didn't last long. And I started thinking of ways to support myself in terms of what would I drink when I start going out again, because I still want to socialize, I still want to go out dancing. So I started actually being really open about my sobriety and funnily enough, I found loads of other people that are sober that I didn't know were sober. And so like in the vegan scene in Brighton, there were sober people. In the rock music scene, which I'm very much a part of, there were sober people. So I started finding my own little tribe of cool sober folk to hang out with. And I think that's really important. Start finding sober people, because we exist everywhere.
Exactly. A whole new world opens up. It's so true. So I'm interested then, what happened for you in terms of the anxiety? How quickly did the benefits start to kick in for you?
Yeah, well, surprisingly, it turns out a lot of my social anxiety might have happened because of the alcohol.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is what I'm talking about. I talk about all the time. Which came first, the chicken or the egg?
I know. It's like I thought I was numbing it out, but I started to do. I mean, I'm a real avid science researcher. With my work with the Facelift Diet, like I have to be. I'm very evidence based. I love my science. I used to work in a science institute, so I started researching into alcohol. And it turns out if you drink like every week, which most people do, that alcohol actually never leaves your body, because it takes so long, doesn't it, to leave? It's not just once the hangover's gone. It's like, it's in you for several days. So if you drink Friday and Saturday, and you're still hungover Sunday, and then you have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then you're back on Friday, it's never actually left your body. No. And so, one of the side effects of alcohol is things like having anxiety. It does mess with our brain chemistry, causing anxiety, all kinds of things. So yeah, you're absolutely right. Is the chicken and egg situation. And actually I'm a lot less socially anxious. I now go out clubbing and I'm dancing in front of everyone, completely sober.
Dancing, who knew?
And you know what? It's more fun
I know.
because once I got over the fact that, because you tell yourself these stories, I can't dance in front of people sober, but that's just a story you're telling yourself. Of course you can. You're the same person with the same body. Once I got over the mind tricks, I'm able to go out and dance till 4 a.m. still, the same as I always did. And do you know what? It's great to go home sober and not eat chips on the way home from the horrible vans on the street. It's great to wake up with no hangover. It's great to wake up knowing I got home, like I remember everything.
Yeah.
And that I'm not craving eating a load of rubbish the next day either.
Yeah. So what have been, obviously that's a main benefit. Have there been any other benefits that you've found, that even anything surprising?
Yes. What's really surprising is that I've always been great. Can I say the B word?
You can say whatever word you like.
Okay, so I've always prided myself in having quite a good bullshit scanner. And my Myers-Briggs type is ENTP, so I love a good debate, and I've got a really good nose for the truth, and that has gone through the roof. So I know I'm really intolerant of people who are toxic, who are lying, those types of people. I used to really kind of attract people with narcissistic personality disorder to me, because I'm quite empathetic. But I found that as going sober, it's made me completely see through them, see the mask, to see who they really are. And I'm able to ditch people out of my life who are abusive, emotionally abusive, covert abusers, really, really quickly, because alcohol's not clouding my intuition. It's not just your mind and your mind processes and your body. It's the other stuff that's not tangible. It's your intuition, all of that as well. So that was surprising, because I didn't think alcohol had anything to do with that.
Yeah. It is amazing how, I mean, I say this a lot, but the months go on and more benefits appear, more and more, things that you just hadn't been expecting. Amazing. So tell us a little bit about the work that you do then, and how it links in. I mean, I for me, obviously, all those years I've been working and talking about natural skincare and beauty and all of that stuff, and holistic living, and yet there was this missing bit of the jigsaw that was there, kind of like the elephant in the room, that never got talked about. And because I was completely in denial, and like you, I thought that was just the imperfectly natural bit of me, the glamorous glass of wine. God, I look back now and think, what the hell? But so tell us a little bit about where you think the booze, if you like, or the lack of booze, fits in with the work that you do. How has it kind of affected your approach, if it has at all?
I mean, the alcohol is one of the most aging things we can.
Yeah, exactly.
It's terribly dehydrating. It destroys so many vitamins and minerals in our body. It it attacks the liver, where we kind of our organ of detoxification. So it has such a massive knock-on effect to our whole bodies, and that includes what we look like on the outside, because skin is our largest organ, as it were. All this, Janey, I know. So I felt like I was doing all this amazing work with my diet, and hydration, and teaching this. I run an academy where I train nutritionists as well in anti-aging nutrition. And, I'm teaching them all this wonderful science, and we do cover, the aging effects of alcohol.
Right.
Because I'm always really a bit annoyed about this whole red wine thing. They say, "Oh, drink red wine for."
Oh, it's good for you. Yeah. You mean those articles that say it's good for you? Is that what you were going to say? Sorry, I interrupted you there.
Oh, that's okay. They always say it's good for you, and it's got resveratrol in it, which is the anti-aging compound within red wine. But it's well, where did that come from?
Exactly. Have a grape.
Yeah, it's the grape. The grapes have resveratrol without the aging alcohol. It's completely negates the effect. And I'm thinking that I'm like that article. I'm negating the effects of my anti-aging diet and what I'm teaching everyone else. And then behind the scenes, although I'm eating super well, and I'm sticking to eating beauty foods and everything, but then I was going and destroying some of it by using alcohol. And luckily I'm so full of antioxidants because of my diet that I didn't have a lot of issues with my skin from the alcohol. But I used to notice on a particularly heavy weekend, I would be puffy. There was fewer, there's some lines that would appear because for the dehydration, it's instant, isn't it? And that kind of level of dehydration. And I thought, this is ridiculous. I'm teaching all this stuff and then ruining, my own teachings and my own skin by adding this poison. So I thought, I've got to commit. It's not just for me and my own health, but this is my work. This is my passion. This is my life's work. And I'm really believer in being really, authentic and walking your talk and being the shining example, like leading by example. Yeah. And here I was drinking. So it was just another one of those things. Like you said, it felt normal. It's like that glamorous thing. I'd be invited to go and do, the events and everything. And there'd always be champagne. And, I can't just go and have a cup of tea at these events, but why not? Why not? Let's lead the way and be the glamorous people that don't drink the alcohol.
Absolutely. So tell us about the Facelift Diet then. Fabulous name. Love the whole idea of it. What do we eat to have a natural facelift?
Well, okay, if I could, obviously the book will be out.
Exactly, yes. You don't have to give us the whole book, just give us a few guidelines.
Condense it. 20 years of study condensed. Okay, if I had to condense it into one little strap line, Janey, I would say eat more fruit.
Yeah.
The anti-aging compounds are in the fruit, and it's one of the most demonized food groups on the planet.
Well, I was just about to say, I mean, we read a lot that says, okay, we need to reduce sugar, and fruit also has sugar, so have the green veggies, but actually be careful with the fruit. So what's your take on all of that?
Yeah, well, it's a really big myth, and it's one I'm going to be smashing in my book and my work, obviously. But there's there is the guidelines about reducing sugar were never ever meant to be extrapolated to mean whole foods. There's literally not one piece of science that says a lot of fruit is bad for us. I tried to look for it and it doesn't exist. And I spend my life in medical journals. So there's so someone's put two and two together and made five at some point, and unfortunately the internet, being the monster that it is, sometimes has just run wild and rampant with that kind of myth, and it is simply just a myth. It's just an opinion and it's not correct. So there's literally no need to, unless you literally are deathly allergic to all fruits, which is probably extremely rare. There's literally no need to, curb your fruit intake at all. In fact, the amount of fruit I get people to eat on the Facelift diet is people get a bit shocked at first, and then they see the results.
How much would it be then?
Well, we're looking at around sort of 20 portions a day minimum.
Wow. Okay. And can you have some of that in the form of a fresh juice?
Oh my goodness, yes. I'm a big fan of juicing, big fan of smoothies. And also, when I say fruit, I'm also talking botanically. So I don't just mean, apples and oranges and pomegranates. We're talking also about avocados, fruit,
of course. Tomatoes,
exactly. Or the what I call the salad fruits and the vegetables.
Yeah. Great. Okay. Sounds good. I'm liking it very much. Definitely. And then, so what would you say for people who have ditched the booze, or, they're in the early stages? And as I say, when I first ditched the booze, I forgot everything I knew and just didn't understand why I felt so bad. But I mean, we know that our body needs to kind of recalibrate, everything's shifting. The brain chemistry can be out of whack. We can have very low mood. We can feel really quite chaotic. Everything's shifting. What would you recommend in those early stages then, both to boost us nutritionally and to be good for our skin? Fruit. You're going to tell me fruit. Yeah, of course you are.
Food as well, the amazing thing is that the same diet that makes us beautiful on the outside is also the one that does all the amazing things to us on the inside as well. So it's helping to detoxify the liver, which is what we really need to do. We will feel terrible at first because our body is trying to then you've finally given it a chance.
Yes, exactly. It says finally.
just to know as well that bad feeling in the beginning is part of the process, and it's correct that you should feel bad at first, but just try and support yourself with eating as eat on the juicy plant end of the spectrum.
Yeah, absolutely.
do juice, do the juices, do the smoothies, get out into the fresh air, do everything you can to support your own self-care. And it will speed up that process a little bit at least. And also look after your mind. I started taking like St. John's wort, for example, because I quit alcohol a year ago, so we're just leading into winter. And I was like, the last thing I want is for my brain chemistry to be off because of not having the alcohol.
Yeah.
And we're going into winter, and I do get seasonal affective disorder. So I was making sure I was supporting that. So all the systems around me, were helping me with my mood and feeling good on the inside. Nothing spurs you on quicker to stick at anything than seeing results fast.
Absolutely.
Right?
So true. So true.
So don't try not to give into the idea of like replacing it with like junk food. Like I definitely did that. So don't beat yourself up if you do. But eating a lot of like, fruits and veggies and juicing and smoothieing and chilling out and having a nice time and finding sober friends and having game nights with them and all kinds of fun stuff. Make sure there's a lot of fun happening in your life as well.
Yeah, totally. And finally then, I mean, I know you know, this is the work you're doing now, and we look forward to your book and all of your work, but we do hear that clearer skin is one of the benefits of not drinking. But there will be people listening. I know we've got members of the Sober Club who've said that even even though they're perhaps in their 40s, even 50s, they've still got kind of acne or breakouts, or, what the hell is that about? I mean, seriously, past the age of 21, none of us should have acne. What's going on? But what would you say to, as a general rule for people who are suffering from poor skin? I mean, on a serious note, it can be really debilitating, can't it? When you've got, breakouts and rashes and skin conditions and zits and, very, very distressing. What would you recommend generically?
Oh, so I mean, generically, things like acne and the conditions you described are kind of inflammatory conditions.
Yeah.
So anytime our skin does anything that kind of looks a bit angry, like acne and breakouts, like eczema, the zits and everything, then we need to look at like reducing the inflammatory foods in our diet and increasing the anti-inflammatory foods. So the anti-inflammatory foods, always the fruits and vegetables, colorful fruits and vegetables. Eat them till the cows come home.
Yeah, I love that expression, eat a rainbow.
Yeah, eat the rainbow.
Yeah.
It is, eat the rainbow to rejuvenate. And by rejuvenate, I don't just mean anti-aging, but it works, at the cellular level, it works on, kind of erasing those actual skin conditions as well, and reducing the inflammatory foods. So the inflammatory foods are alcohol, animal foods, especially when we fry, grill, deep fry, anything that's very fatty and oily, that's where the oil's been heated. Dairy is known inflammatory food, as is gluten. So again, it's about leaning towards that more plant-based approach. You don't have to go vegan, but it's about leaning towards that more plant-based, fresh, whole plant foods that are juicy and hydrating. And you can see a massive difference just from doing that.
Amazing. So just tell us your website then, Star, where people can find more about your work.
Oh, okay. It's quite an easy one, www.thefaceliftdiet.com.
Love it. Star, thank you so much.
Thank you, Janey.
So as I say, check out more of Star's work and her lovely contribution in the book, Happy, Healthy, Sober. And as promised, Penrhos Spirits. So I'm really pleased to be chatting to certainly one of the founders of Penrhos Spirits, Dickie, and his daughter Harriet. And I think there's someone else involved. Tell me the story, Harriet or Dickie. Tell us about the farming families that are behind this interesting brand.
Well, we ourselves, we're the Williamses. We farm at Penrhos, and a friend of mine, Charlie Turner, we've been friends for years, and we decided in 2012 to start a fruit business together, growing fruit. The reason for that was we're quite high up in the air here, so we can grow fruit right at the end of the season. So we decided to start a business here. We grew the fruit, and then started to realise that not all the fruit went to the supermarket. It was top quality stuff that sometimes the supermarkets didn't want. So we thought, what can we do with that? Both of us quite like a gin and tonic. So we thought, what could be more fun than start a distillery, make a bit of gin, and also utilize some of the products from the farm. And it sort of went there. We started it in 2018, built a distillery on the farm. Harriet went to university, trained to be a teacher, and I persuaded her to sell gin. And that sums it up very, very succinctly. But that's where we are.
Right. And obviously for the purposes of this, what we're really interested in is the fact that you now also have an alcohol-free version. So tell us about the thinking behind that and how that came about.
Yeah, so we actually thought of the idea quite a few years ago, and it's basically for the people that want to have the experience of a great gin and tonic, but perhaps they don't want the alcohol, but they want to really have a feeling of having a gin and tonic in their hands. And we looked into it, and at the time it was sort of really just seed lip, so kind of just like a clear liquid. And we wanted to also incorporate our fruit into it. So we've got a pink raspberry flavoured non-alcoholic spirit, which we're using our own blueberries and raspberries. And it's basically a sophisticated non-alcoholic drink. That was the idea behind it.
So what's your processing? Is it that the alcohol is removed, as it were, or is it distilled without using any alcohol at all? How does it work?
Yeah, no, so that's quite interesting. So when we started doing this, we thought, right, how are we going to do it? So we still use exactly the same process as if we were making gin. We use our still, and obviously we have botanicals. So within there we put junipers, a huge amount of our own blueberries, coriander. I'm telling you all our trade secrets here now. plus a number of other products, which we then create a steam distillation. So again, I got to be careful because I tend to go on a bit about this, but obviously alcohol and water boil at a similar process. So we found a way of utilizing our still to create a distillate. The main ingredients are sort of 96 or 7% of the ingredients are raspberry juice and the distillate that we created.
Great. So it's that lovely kind of fruity taste as well, which really makes a big difference. So is there any kind of calorific value? Is there anything we need to be concerned about in terms of sugar?
No, not particularly. I think it's around sort of 27 calories per 25 ml. So it's nothing that you need to particularly worry about.
Yeah, cool. And I think your packaging is great. It looks, I think one of the really important things, if you're going to be thinking about having an alcohol-free drink, you want it to look nice, right? So I'm guessing that was part of this for you as well.
Yeah, a huge part, because people shop with their eyes, don't they? So we spent a long time creating the label. It's sort of hand illustrated, and this sort of blue colour on our label is kind of our branding colour. And yeah, we really love it. So I'm pleased that you like it as well.
I do. And what's the plan for the brand? I mean, obviously, because of, a pandemic, everything's been closed or whatever. But is your plan ultimately that you would like to sell this in, sort of bars or is it that kind of idea? Or are you really aiming for the market that people buy it to just have this at home?
I think definitely for drinking at home, 100%. But we want to have it everywhere, have it accessible to everyone. So that's kind of our plan, really.
Yeah, sure. How many drinks do you have in your range? With your alcoholic drinks.
Yeah, so we've got our London Dry, which is kind of the first drink we brought out. We've got a rhubarb, which uses our own rhubarb juice, apple and elderflower, a blueberry liqueur. And we just brought out a honey spiced rum made with our own honey. So we've got quite a broad range now and kind of something for everyone, really.
Wow. Oh, you have bees. You keep bees as well.
Yeah. So we keep bees because we've got obviously lots of orchards with the fruit. We were actually out in the orchards the other day, and the noise the bees make is amazing. So yeah, we've got apiaries lined along the orchard.
Oh wow.
So.
Do you sell honey as well then?
Well, funnily enough, we had this discussion today. I think it's something we definitely like to do, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we've got quite a lot of orchards, and bees are our absolute lifeline. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be able to produce anything. So I think the whole thing fits quite well. So yeah, I think that's certainly something that that we could easily do.
Yeah, with it, I'm interested in this real sort of unique piece of what you do is this obviously growing the fruit, and what happens for you in terms of weather conditions, because I'm for a complete layman like me, you just read stuff on the news, oh my goodness, all the fruit's wiped out, we've got this problem, we've got that problem, but what's it really like in terms of the weather?
The weather is I mean, you can, I always say it's 50-50. 50% is your ability and 50% is luck and the weather.
Right.
And I mean, we just had a really, really cold spring, and it still is cold. And so everything is so slow to get going. We're probably 3 weeks behind where we should be.
Right.
So it's a real challenge. I mean, I just take my wellies off at the door and, and they're covered in mud, and it's challenging. Last year, for example, we had, conditions that were -5 in the morning and 23 in the afternoon.
That's
and that's really, really difficult. So obviously you're dealing with the frost. The bees obviously need decent temperatures for them to work properly. So it's a real challenge. That's what makes it interesting, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. So what would you like to see for the brand then? So if I interviewed you in a year's time, I'm always interested in, what the kind of the vision is for the future.
My vision is for people to know our name. That was so big thing for me, because obviously there's so many gin brands and also now so many non-alcoholic spirits. I mean, at the time we were thinking of doing it, there really wasn't anything, and we were thinking, right, we're really on the money here.
It's really amazing how it's grown, isn't it? And the growth is incredible.
Yeah, so just as we were launching it, we were, in the middle of this global pandemic, and we were just seeing all these ones popping out all over the place. But yeah, I just like for people to go up to the bar and ask for a Penrhos. I like to call it a Z&T, Penrhos Zero and Tonic, and just to be known, I guess.
Fantastic, brilliant. Anything else you'd like to add? Anything else you'd like to tell us?
Just that go and have a look at our website. It's available to buy on there, which is just www.penrhosspirits.co.uk. And follow us on Instagram if you like learning about fruit growing, honey, blossom, cocktails,
distilling,
making, cocktails.
Yeah, fantastic. I love all of that. It's love the fact that it's just, it's a family business, and it's great that you guys you're obviously clearly involved down to the last blueberry, which is great. Yeah. I mean, there's not that many brands that, that you can follow it through right from the kind of the farm, is there? So it's quite a unique take.
And it's, all through my career, I've been, we've been selling commodities. We don't necessarily see where the end product is. And for this to be able to see something that is tangible and we can actually see it on a shelf it's really exhilarating. It's been great fun.
Brilliant.
If not challenging.
Yeah, exactly. Guys, thank you. I really appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
So you can win some of the Penrhos spirits if you go to imperfectlynatural.com, and I'll put a link in the show notes. Check out that lovely raspberry alcohol-free spirit alternative. Make sure you check out the Sober Club if you want connection. You know where we are. www.soberclub.com. It is still open for members. We are going to close up soon and do a little bit of membership stuff that's just for our members. So join us while you can. And it's very small and supportive and non-judgmental. I'm sure I've said that a ton of times, but just to reiterate, that was one of the things that came out of our weekend at Champneys. Just a very small group, but everyone said the difference that being connected had made to them was absolutely massive. It really makes all the difference in the world, whatever stage you're at. If you're just starting out, if you're just curious, or if you've been sober for months or even years, and now you want to focus on something else, on another aspect of your optimum health and well-being and mindset, this is the place where we cover all of this. And it's absolutely not just me. I've got some wonderful experts that I bring in, and everyone is so unbelievably kind and non-judgmental. So it's the place for you. So come and check it out if that's of interest to you. Go to events and check out what's going on there as well. If you want to grab a copy of Happy, Healthy, Sober, you know where to get that. And don't forget the social medias. Follow me on Instagram at Janey Lee Grace. Facebook is Janey Lee Grace Loves. If you are struggling, always, always, always reach out. I know I just can't make this clearer. I have had a couple of clients who said that for ages they knew that was what held them back, that they they did that thing where they retreated into themselves, using the word retreat in a very different sense, of course. They retreated into themselves, and they genuinely believed for a time that nobody else felt the way they did. It was just them in their head, feeling really very down. And that's an awful place to be, because the truth of it is there's always somebody who's been there, done it, got the T-shirt and been through what you're going through right now. So, and if not, well, they'll have some shared experiences. So always find someone that you can connect with that can help you out. And if you are going through this, if you're coming out of, we're coming out of lockdown and you're just sort of venturing out and starting out and trying to step into your sober shoes and find your new identity, then, get connected, get support on that. And we really wish you all the best with it, and just go for it, because trust me, it's the best thing you'll ever do for yourself. Give yourself a really big hug, and I'll see you next week. Thank you for listening to the Alcohol Free Life podcast, brought to you by the Sober Club. Please rate and review. And if you want support, accountability and inspiration, and you want to live your best life without the booze, check out thesoberclub.com.